All right, we're good. What is up? We in the motherfucking building. It's the Casual and Chill Crew podcast. You know what I'm saying? I got the homie Guru, the guy with me, Josh, aka
Yer,
Just Josh, King Vasto Lorde, and the homie Mellow Blurred. And
yer.
I am HBK Vakora. We turning up. We chilling. Honestly, um, I just want to see what the fuck's been up with y'all, man. We already kind of been talking before we started, so we already kind of covered some things. But you know, what y'all trying to get into?
Mm, Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I mean, like you said, we've been talking about it a lot. Yeah.
Yep.
From the Nintendo Switch to X-Men to Marvel Rivals.
Man, okay. Well, look, if we gonna start with the games, let's talk about this then. What games is y'all finna be hyped to play for the rest of this year? We know we got the Switch 2 on the horizon, but Switch 2 aside, what games are y'all looking at this year? We're about halfway through the year already, so I'm assuming you got an idea of what you're waiting on or what you've been playing. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm waiting for I'm mad that I can't think of the name of the game right now. I'm waiting for Path of Exile 2, the full release because the demo's already out and the demo is great. You get like 3 acts and you get a good 20 hours worth of gameplay and then you can go back and do those 3 acts on hard mode. But we get an update this month which introduces a bunch of new I think like 100 new like moves and then also a new character. But in the full release we'll have 12 characters.
Okay.
It
So you on your
introduces a
path
couple
of
new
exile?
weapons. Yeah, Path of Exile, like it's big for me. Like that's probably the game I'm most hyped for.
I might scoop it
Oh
up.
shit.
I've been
Against
Well,
seeing
Cloud too.
commercials, and I'm trying to play more games with the homies. Is that a single player game though?
You could play I think up to 6 people. I could be wrong, it's definitely at least four though.
Okay, even better. Look, I'm down to scoop that up because, like I said, I'm trying to play more games with the homies. But I seen they're dropping a Game of Thrones game, and it looks kind of like Assassin's Creed or like Dragon Age, but with more bells and whistles on it. So it looks a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie. And I think I might scoop that up for like one player games. But I'm backlogging right now. I'm playing older games, games that already came out. So I'm trying to get heavy on Dave the Diver. That game is absolute fire. And if you never heard of it,
Day of
it
the Diver.
yeah, Dave the Diver. Have you ever played it? Have you ever heard of it?
I've
No,
seen
I've
it like
never.
moving around, but I never heard of it.
Man, I'm about to put y'all on game real quick. I hope Dave the Diver is with the expansion and all that stuff. I hope they put it on the Switch too, because I might just buy it a second time to be real. I got it on my PS5, but Dave the Diver is about this dude who he pretty much helps this black guy and this white old white dude, and they like run a business together. But Dave is the dude who dives in the water. So the old man wants to make like a sushi restaurant, and he hires this black dude who's like the world's best sea chef. He can cook anything from the sea, and he knows dishes like the back of his hand, stuff that you ain't never even heard of before. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just the best chef when it comes to seafood. So the thing about him though is like he's picky with the ingredients and stuff like that. So you have to go dive in the water and go hunt all the ingredients he needs. He'll be like, "Bro, we need some shark fin right now because there's a customer coming in and they're gonna love this recipe that I came up with, but you gotta have a certain type of, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta go in the water and start hunting down sharks. But like, there's so much crazy stuff that happens in the water because every time you dive in the water, it's not the same as the last. The locations are like vaguely in the same spot, but like just different every time you dive in the water. So there's all types of like items and stuff you can find. You got like a little harpoon gun and you can upgrade it or you can like transform it into other things. So at first it's just a regular harpoon gun, but you can find like the electric harpoon gun. So every time you hit somebody with the harpoon, it electrocutes them a little bit. Then you can like level up your gun and get it from level 1, level 2, level 3 max, you know what I'm saying? And so there's all types of stuff like that. Then you can like when you get all the ingredients, you bring it up and then you end up being an employee at the restaurant. So you have to serve the food and stuff as well. But the chef only makes a certain amount. So it's like customers will come in and they'll be like, "All right, we only have 12 dishes of the fried calamari, so once it's gone, it's gone." But like they can order other stuff off the menu. So you got to keep your menu like full so that you don't run out of customers, and you gotta run around and like fill up the little tea things, run it over to this dude, bring this nigga his food or whatever, and you can't be too slow, otherwise they get mad and they leave. But when they pay you out, you get all types of money and stuff, and you can use that money to upgrade your restaurant, buy more employees, hire people so they can run around and you don't have to run around as much. You can you can buy upgrades to your scuba gear. So like you have an oxygen tank, but you can only go so far down based on how much oxygen you got. Once you upgrade your tank, you can dive deeper into the water. So the more you upgrade your oxygen tank, the deeper down in the water you're going and the more shit you start to find. I found like a uh secret village of mermaids, and they can like speak some of your
Oh,
language and stuff like that. And then we went and found some science dude, and he made like a translator. And so now I was able to translate my speech and talk to the mermaids. And now they were like asking me for stuff. So now there's all different types of missions and stuff you could do now. But it's just a super dope game because it keeps on expanding on the idea of like you're trying to help this chef and you're trying to help this old dude run this restaurant. But the more and more things you keep discovering, the more and more like access you have to all types of stuff. You get like a phone and you can download apps, and every time you download a new app, it's like unlocking a new function. You know what I'm saying? I met some dude who's like some fat white nerdy dude, but like he makes stuff. He like custom makes stuff. So he helps you upgrade your harpoon gun, and he can like give you special types of guns. I had like a rocket launcher harpoon gun because I got homie to upgrade it for me. So like it's a super dope
That's
game.
crazy.
I'm telling you guys, if you've never seen it or like gave it the chance, check it out because also while you play it, it's like very soothing to play. Like yes, there's times when you're in there, oh man, I'm stressing because I'm getting chased by the shark. But then like you get back up top and then you're like, all right, who am I trying to hire right now? I don't like this nigga. Let me upgrade myself. Like there's downtime and there's uptime. There's stressful moments. There's quick moments or whatever, but the game itself is just fun all around. It's never really like hectic or like it's not. There's no ranked mode where you gotta sweat bullets and worry about a team that's gonna cost you the game all the time. But anyway, yeah, it's a super dope game. So I've been playing that, and I've been playing the Pirate Yakuza because that game is fire. It's pretty much One Piece mixed with Yakuza. So Absolute fire.
Huh. I, I think I've seen that, but I haven't played it yet.
I I love the
How's
new
that?
version of the pirate or not I love the new version of like a dragon, you know what I'm saying? The last 4 or 5 Yakuza games, I played them all. So ever since the series has been on the Ichiban run is what I call it because Ichiban became the new main character. In fact, quick side note, Ichiban is in Dave the Diver. They did new DLC. They have two DLCs for Dave the Diver. One of them is Godzilla, and then the second one is Yakuza Like a Dragon, and they put Ichiban on there. Super dope. Full circle with that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, man, it's a fire game because it's about this dude who was in the pirate yakuza. He hit his head while at sea, and he has amnesia, so he doesn't know who he is. But when he's still a badass yakuza dude, so he's whooping people's asses all over the place, and then he gets the idea from this little kid who saved his life because like he washed up ashore and he was gonna die of dehydration, and this little kid gave him some water. So that he was like, "Thanks, man. Like you did a favor for me when nobody else would have probably helped me because of who I am and what I look like." And so the kid pretty much and in his innocence, he persuaded the main character become a pirate. And because he has amnesia, he was like, "I'll just do this until I figure out, what I'm really supposed to be doing." But this pirate life is kind of fun. So you get all types of random people to just join your pirate crew, and you could level them up and stuff like that. But you get all types of people to join your pirate crew, and then you go find treasure, and you jump on islands, and you go beat up people, and he has these two knives, and he throws hands. So like you can either beat people down with your hands, or you can pull out the two cutlasses that he has, and he starts like throwing them around and like jumping around and shit like that, and just whooping ass. And it's super dope. But what I like about it the most is that like you can really just add all types of crew. I have a ninja on my team right now, and then this other white girl who she kind of reminded me of Nami from One Piece, but really she's just like a white girl with a very foul, filthy mouth. And she said she used to be a pirate, but she gave up on that life. And she found some white boy that she liked, and so she was trying to talk to him and impress him. And it turned into a side quest where I had to like go out and help the chick out because some dudes was finna beat them up or whatever. And after I whooped their ass, she ended up joining my pirate crew. So I'm just like, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So the more I play the game, it's just really funny comedic scenarios and stuff like that. But there's a main story to the game too, and it's like there's this secret island where people are going to, and they're like having life or death pirate war fights, and it's like an underground pirate club. It's like Fight Club. You fight for money and shit like that, but it's with pirates instead. But these are like life and death fights. So sometimes people don't come out of there, and that's why it's got its name. And it's like everybody's like, "Yo, it's super deadly over there. Only the top tier pirates even try to go over there." But yeah, dope game,
Damn, one no smoke.
dope game. But what have y'all
Sure,
been
man.
playing?
Sounds cool.
That's what I've been playing.
To be real with me, man, I ain't really been playing much besides Monster Hunter. I'm on that like heavy. That's been
What's
like
your
my
head?
main. Right now, I'm rank 100. So I'm official. I'm official. You know what I mean? Goaded
You
now, rank 100.
you
Let's
passed
go.
me.
I
You
got the
passed
armor. I
me.
want for now. I'm just trying to build my weapons, bro.
I'm like rank. I'm like hunter rank 94. So you officially passed me.
Hey, gotta catch up. But nah, bro, they gonna be dropping new monsters and stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, that's when I'm jumping back on. I gotta get that armor for Fatalis or Zoshi, whatever they call him now.
Okay.
I gotta
Okay.
get the inklings, bro.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I want that Mizutsune, that bubble
Yeah,
dragon. I want his armor.
yeah. So I'm gonna definitely be back on tomorrow. So if you trying to play, let me know.
On God, we can hunt some shit, bro. I'm down for that.
They
Facts.
said you
Oh, by
got.
the way, if y'all didn't
They
know, it's
said
cross.
they said you
We
gotta
gotta
be at least 100 rank 50 to ride this ride.
we gotta get back on that Ninja
On
The
God.
game
Turtles,
I'm thinking
man.
about, Ninja
Oh yeah.
Turtles.
I'm
Nah,
with it.
nah. I forgot. So now I can be official. Now, yeah, yeah. I can start playing now, so I can pay for it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I just upgraded to essential. So yeah, not essential to extra.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm down for the
Looks like
Ninja Turtles
we
too.
about to put it in the lineup. Look, we finna make this other server. And when I make this other server, man, we finna start taking off with the games. My whole thing about this server, I fuck with everybody here, but everybody here is into different shit. And so I'm like, it's cool that we all vibe here for the podcast, but outside of the podcast, we have different interests. So I'm like, I kind of want to be like, all right, my gamer homies over here, I'll just jump in everybody else's pods for, or not pods, everybody else's servers when we want to talk anime because there's a few servers in here that get lit and everybody in here likes anime. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool with just jumping around for that. I don't need to make a server for that. But
Yeah.
I want to separate the people in here that game from the people in here that don't because I'm seriously entertaining the idea of doing like D&D gaming but my own version of it. So, I have all types of
I'm with
ideas.
it.
I have all types of look, I'll just run it down like this. So, it became very easy for me to come up with a premise. I just need the time to make like the back lore type stuff. You know what I'm saying? The storyline, the items and shit like that. So I would need like a week or two in advance, but to tell you how easy I could come up with an idea and have us just jump into anything earlier, right before we started potting, when Piper was here, she started talking about X-Men, right? We could have easily I
Hmm.
could have easily came up with a D&D for X-Men, like our own version of it, to where we can all jump in the X-Men world and see what you would do when you get put in those
Yeah,
types
I
of
remember you was
situations.
doing that when you were playing before. You played that before, game before. You did that shit mad quick.
Exactly. It's really easy for me to come up with it, and I wanted to do that with all types of games to be real. So I'm like, I'm cool with keeping up with one version if it takes off. You know what I'm saying? If people really like whatever world we jump into, I'm cool with keeping into that one.
Right.
I wanted to start with the Naruto one just because I'm a fan. But
Well, that sounds dope.
look, I've come up with some other ones too that I'm like, man, this one could be dope. Kaiju number 8, I think would be really cool if we could get a couple
Ooh,
of people to jump into that.
that would be fair.
Cause like
I like Kaiju number 8.
you know how in the beginning, first couple of episodes or whatever, they had everybody like suit up and shit like that. I have a scenario for that to
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like a little mini game that everybody plays, and it'll determine how high you can score on your suits. You know what I'm saying? And so now that gives that level of what it was
Oh,
like
like
to
what's
be.
your power level? What's your
Yeah,
potential?
exactly. And
That's
then you can
dope.
unlock the potential of your suit the more and more the game goes on. So I'm like, I kind of like the idea of that one, but yeah, I had the idea for the Naruto one, had the idea for an X-Men one. I had the idea of entertaining a My Hero one, but I'm not really a My Hero fan if I'm being dead honest. But I still came up with one for that
Kind of
just
fell off
because
of
of
My
the
Hero.
pace. You know what I'm
You
saying?
do, I do like
Because
My
I
Hero
know a
though.
lot of people do. So yeah, and then with solo leveling taking off like it did, I have the idea for a solo leveling one
Solo
as
level.
well. You know what I'm saying? So
How'd y'all feel about that ending?
I
You,
I'm I'm entertaining the idea of like, man, if we could pull enough people together, we don't have to stream it, but I wanna have a community where we can play games like that, and not just D&D games, but
that's dope.
whatever games. You know what I'm saying? If people want to play Marvel Rivals, we can all jump on there and just meet up in that other server because yeah, I mean I like this server. I told you I fuck with everybody in this server. It's just not everybody in the server is into that. So I'm like, all right, well let me start. Let me just split. You know what I'm saying? And plus, there's some couple of other people that I know that would be interested in that, and they're not in this server at all. So you know what I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be some new people coming to the server as
Yeah,
well.
I'm not. I haven't played games in a long time, but if y'all start playing, I'll definitely start getting back into it just to play with you guys.
Well, I mean, the shit. The Ninja Turtles 4 players, so we need two more. Well, we need one
Facts.
more since we
Yeah, I'm
got Josh.
down.
Yep, yep.
Plus, Josh, I know you be playing Pokemon Unite. I just picked it back up. I just
I definitely do.
picked that game back up. So, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I'm trying
Pokemon
to get on the
Unite.
squad.
Pokemon
Trying to be
Unite
on
is
the
the
team.
game. I'm with it. Like that's the game I always come back to. Like I play other games, but I always go back to Pokemon Unite.
I'm trying to make the team, man. I heard about the squad.
Shit, I'm with it. Yeah. Don plays too. Don DZ.
Yep. He's the one that told me about the squad over a
Yeah,
bottle
so
of
I'm
French
I'm with it.
Moscato.
We can we can team up anytime, bro.
Yeah, I'm
Have y'all fuck
intrigued
with the
about
new
it.
Assassin's Creed Shadows? I want to know how it is.
I could give you a quick
The new
little
Assassin's
synopsis.
Creed.
I could tell you what I've been hearing, but I didn't
Like,
play it.
I already know I love Assassin's Creed. I just haven't played it.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I'm thinking about getting it.
let me tell you. People are saying the game is super woke. If that matters to you or not, you know what I'm saying? That's just, it is what it is. Woke stuff doesn't really bother me. I just always question like why are you making that such a main focus of the game? I don't mind woke stuff being in video games,
That's
but
right.
when you make it the center main piece and it just has to be prevalent the entire time, it's annoying. But yeah, so there's some wokeness in the game. I'll start there, and then I'll tell you this. There is a black character and there is another female character, and I guess they're both the main characters of the story, but both of them are members of the LGBT community from what I understand. So,
Okay. Okay.
all right, well, looking past that, there's a couple of glitches in the game to where I'll say it like this. I seen a clip where someone was crawling on the ground and they were crawling on the ground by multiple enemies and there wasn't a single enemy that could touch them because they didn't have the
Okay.
AI to like reach for the ground. They didn't have the AI to attack low. So the AI enemy system is very like low maintenance, very low IQ on the
Right.
bad guys.
So the game, basically, what you're saying is the game is probably not the greatest.
It's not the greatest.
That's what it sounds
However,
like.
I've heard that the story is pretty entertaining. Anybody that likes Assassin's Creed should still like the game. But
Yeah, I like
from
the sound.
from the outside
Okay.
looking in, from the typical gamer, the regular average gamer that's just going in, experiencing it for the first time, there's a lot of repetitiveness that they don't like. There's a lot of glitches that make the game seem low IQ. There is the wokeness thing, and then the number one thing for me that I was like, oh, that's a game killer, because I think this is a game killer for a lot of games. The voice acting. Assassin's Creed's voice acting is terrible from what I heard. They had one person in there, bro. It sounded like someone was messing around in the studio. Like they let a complete fool record some of the audio for some of these characters because they weren't taking it serious at all. And it shows because it's like you have this serious looking cool character and then he sounds like a complete idiot, and that's just bad voice acting, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's got some rough edges, that's what I'll say. But overall I heard that it's like playing gameplay wise, it's still a fun game to play. Everybody that bought it still enjoyed playing it. It's just it's got some flaws. You know what I'm saying?
Now I'm iffy on it because like I played all the other ones and they've all been great. I don't know I've been hearing like you now too. And it ain't sounding too good. I've been hearing bad things.
Look, I'll tell you some. I'll tell you. Go down further in the rabbit hole with you. So Ubisoft makes those games, right?
Right.
So I've been hearing that I've been seeing videos and stuff. I got a weird algorithm, you know what I'm saying? It goes into music, it goes into video game nerd stuff, it goes into comic books, it goes into like murder mystery documentary, it goes all over the place. It ends up with movies at the end of the
Right.
day. But I've been seeing that Ubisoft is in the middle of some real bad. They lost a lot of money. They were about to have to split the company into two or sell it entirely, I think. And from what I heard, we're looking at a Ubisoft 2 that is in a completely different like basically they're going to split that company up because they needed that game to be
Right.
successful and it did not deliver.
Flopped.
It under delivered. And so now Ubisoft is in trouble and they might end up on the cutting room floor. That's what I've been hearing about Ubisoft.
I just don't get how they fucked up. They made so many Assassin's Creed games. Like,
What the fuck happened?
Well,
yeah, like I'm not understanding.
I I like to say with this game specifically, I want to blame it on the wokeness and the bad voice acting. Me personally, I can overlook bad AI if you update it. You know what I'm saying? But the bad voice acting, that's in the
Right. You could
game
fix that.
forever. Unless you take that whole character out. But now you got to change that whole storyline. Now you got to change that whole mission. Now that you got to change a lot of stuff when you got to change the voice acting or someone. And so, or you just got to re-voice act them. You know what I'm saying? Or some hire a new actor, have them come in and redub all those things. But you know what I'm saying? It's unnecessary if you do it right the first time. So bad voice acting to me is almost like a huge game killer, and no voice acting, depending on what game it is, that's also a game killer for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I need certain games to have voice acting, otherwise I'm gonna lose interest and I can't keep playing. But yeah, man,
Damn, yo, I was
they
looking
took
forward to
too many
playing it.
risks. They took too many risks, and it ended up biting them
Right.
in the ass. Because some of their other Ubisoft games were under delivering as well, so it's not just Assassin's Creed. It's kind of like Ubisoft as a
I
whole.
guess they just fall. They just falling off because
Facts.
they just falling off.
Man, I heard maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember who I heard it from, but someone told me he was like, man, maybe 15, 20 years from now, everything's going to be owned by like a few companies because there's this crazy war going on amongst all the biggest, company names, and Sony and Amazon are high towards the top. You know what I'm saying? Sony's buying a lot of stuff. Amazon's buying a lot of stuff. And the lower companies, the weaker companies, the smaller companies, slowly but surely are being bought out one by one. So I
I
feel
believe
like
it.
maybe Ubisoft just fell underneath the line, and they got scooped up a little bit quicker than we all would have thought. But that happened because I take it back to woke culture. People are people are making it known with their wallets. They want woke stuff to stop in certain like forms of media. If you look at what happened with Snow White, that movie failed, bombed in the box office. It's doing terrible right now. Disney lost so much money on that Snow White movie because the main actor girl was being woke and being crazy, to be real. She was being like super feminist, and that just looks bad on the
I didn't even see it. What happened?
well,
That
okay,
ain't
let me
nobody
take him
see
to
it.
the beginning. Let me take him to the beginning real quick. Give you a little three quick shots with her. She came in and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be playing Snow White," and then she was like, "I kind of don't like the original story though." So right when she came in, she started hating. She was like, "I think it's weird that like the prince kissed the princess in her sleep. Like, where's consent? Blah blah blah." You know what I'm saying? Like, and then she was like, "So
Oh my god.
we're changing the original Snow White story to where it doesn't have to be like that, and where it's actually going to be more about like female empowerment and how Snow White is a this, that, and the third." I can't even tell you where they were going with it because I knew from a jump. I knew as soon as she said that, I was like, I'm not watching this movie. If you're gonna change the script on me, I'm not watching this movie because it's supposed to be like a live action version.
She's doing too much.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
Right,
Will
right.
Smith. Will Smith didn't go in there and play the genie on Aladdin and be like, "Hey man, we gotta switch up all these scenes because I don't think this is gonna be good." You know what I'm saying? So she came in here acting like her shit don't stink. Then she changed up the script and was like, "Yo, female empowerment type shit." And if you're willing to overlook those two things, this one was the nail in the coffin. She put out a video and she was like, "Yo, blah blah blah, coming out to make this movie. Thank you for all the fans or whatever." And she was like, "And if you don't like it, like then don't go watch it." And she was like, "If you don't like what I'm doing, don't go watch it." And what that's gonna do on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was like, "Fine, no, I'm not gonna go
Yeah,
watch this
they
shit."
ran with that shit.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't want me to watch it, I'm not gonna watch it. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? So
It
everybody
was like,
showed
fuck you
her,
then.
like if that's how you're gonna treat us, then we don't wanna be a part of your business. But that's what I'm saying. Like woke woke anything nowadays is very hard to sell. And it's not that it's impossible, and it's not that we don't want it. It's that we don't want it force fed to us with like in the way that they're doing it. It's very aggressive in the way that it's being thrown in all types of media. And so like a woke game will fail. A woke movie will fail. And because people aren't gonna go pay for that. People aren't gonna they don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
I think
Right.
it's
I
because
think
like they try to take things that were already made and try to turn it and put extra shit into it. Try to change it. It's like make something new. Go do something new if you want to do all that other shit.
right
exactly.
that, and then there's one
Do
more thing.
something
Like
new.
people, like I feel like they forget that one of the reasons we play games, one of the reasons we watch movies is to get away from the shit that's happening in the real world. We don't want to be
Right.
reminded of that shit.
That too.
But see, look, here's the thing. I'm gonna use a reference of something that I consider as like a woke game that I think is a really good game, and that is Life is Strange. It's about some like honestly the story keeps changing. There's so many different versions of it. I'll only tell you about the one that I played, but the one that I played was about some chick who had feelings for some other girl. So it was like a lesbian couple thing or whatever, but the chick had superpowers, like she had psychic powers or some shit like that and she couldn't control them. So, although you're giving me the woke stuff, you're giving me this crazy like new story where anything can happen because this chick's psychic powers started getting out of hand. And it's a, from what I understand, it's a multiple ending story game. So it's like based on what decision you choose, you know what I'm saying? This time your friend ended up helping you, know what I'm saying? Now you end up becoming a couple and getting closer and blah blah blah. But because of how crazy her psychic powers was, you could have lashed out, said some crazy shit, and now you ended up hurting the girl or whatever. Or maybe some glass broke and slit her wrist, and now she's got a scar, and now like this is something that created a bond between you guys, and you're talking about what was that was going. But it was a game that was like, it felt like a movie. It felt like you were watching a movie, and I didn't mind it being woke because it was new, and it was there was the anticipation
That's what I'm saying.
of
See,
like,
it was something
you know what I'm
different.
saying.
Yeah, it
But
was
don't
something
tell
new.
me Snow White and the Prince is not even in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he was in the movie. I don't know. I didn't watch it. But like he doesn't have the same role that he had initially. He doesn't serve the same purpose that he served in the movie initially. And on top of that, they had the what's it called? The dwarves. The dwarves, their roles was diminished in the movie as well, I heard. They were supposed to be, on they were supposed to get a lot more screen time, but
So
because
that wasn't even Snow White at that point. That was a whole different movie.
exactly, that was whatever she wanted to make. And that's why I'm like, come on now, don't nobody want to watch that. They wanted to watch Snow White. Why did you change the fucking script so much? And what kind of makes me mad about that, man? I'm glad they didn't do that with a movie that people actually care about. Because look, let's be real, Snow White is like from the 1930s or like the 1960s or whatever. Yes, growing up watching it, there's still going to be people that fall in love with that movie. I'm not trying to hate. But I'm saying that was never in my top 5 when I grew up watching Disney shows or whatever. I grew up watching Tarzan, Aladdin,
Lilo.
Lilo and Stitch, like Goofy movie and stuff like that. Goofy, those were the Disney movies that I wanted to watch. You know what I'm saying? So Snow White was never, even like the Aristocrats and stuff like that. I would rather watch that. 101 Dalmatians I'd rather watch before I watch Snow White. I'll use this one for an example though. My mom loves Beauty and the Beast. In fact, I think it's her favorite movie of all time. I'm glad they didn't fucking go in there and try to butcher that movie like that. You know what I'm saying? Because then I would have been kind of mad. Like, imagine me going to the movies to go watch Beauty and the Beast with my mom. You know what I'm saying? And then now I gotta sit through this bullshit because they changed the script. Me and my mom sitting there talking about like this wasn't in the movie. I'm like, I don't know if I like this version. I don't know.
That's fucking
I
hilarious.
think it's very disrespectful what she tried to do. I understand why she did it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not rocking with it. And I feel like Assassin's Creed followed in her footsteps. There was some people in the higher ups that were on that woke shit, and somebody was in charge and was like, "Yo, the main character has to be this. The main kid, like, and I don't even know if it went down like that or whatever, because who knows. But here's my thing: when making a video game and you're with a team, you have to agree upon
Right.
certain decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like I see it all the time watching like video game documentaries and stuff like that. But behind the scenes, how this game was made, how that game was made. People will come in there with like an art concept and be like, "Hey, this is the main character, and this is kind of what they're about." At what point did we sign off on this? When the Assassin's Creed new game that ended up coming out, who signed off on that? That's what I want to know.
Do you think that could have took the game down too, though? Like where they didn't necessarily agree on everything.
Look, that very well could be a factor because, like I said, the company might split in half, and now you're looking at Ubisoft One and Ubisoft Two, and if that's the reason because they couldn't get along, yeah, that I could see that happening. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking about it like that, but that very well could be a possibility.
Yeah, so that that proposal's already out there. They already made a deal with Tencent to
Mm.
sell the company, but they're having legal issues with some of the shareholders. So technically, that already went down, and their plan with Assassin's Creed is actually supposed to have a new game every year with a new different setting, etc. So they had these big plans for it, but didn't quite shake out that way. I think that's still the plan. Um, the I forgot what the guy's name, but there's like these two brothers that own a Ubisoft, and they'll still have controlling rights to Ubisoft that is sold, sold their soul to the Chinese in order to keep the company.
Mm.
Ah,
So there.
Mm. Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
Assassin's Creed's my game, bro. I was like, but I like it where they take a couple years to make everything because the game comes out better like that.
I think
They
that's
want
what
to
they
come
need
out
to
with
go back
multiple
to.
series every year. Like, all right, you have this like long running franchise. That's kind of their plan to turn out these games, but it's not looking good.
What you were saying?
I think they could thrive if they went back to making a game every like 2 or 3 years. I think maybe them cutting corners and where you get something like terrible voice acting is because maybe they were trying to rush their product. Like if they have a deadline and they're trying to give you a game every year, then inevitably when if they start to fall behind that deadline, you're going to have to cut corners somewhere, and that
That's what
might
I'm
be
saying.
leading to
Yeah.
some repetitive
Right. Right.
gameplay shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I heard a lot of the dungeons are the same, so it's like they probably did that because they ran out of time and they couldn't make diverse, unique dungeons to where every mission feels different. A lot of it feels repetitive. So I'm just like, yeah, it's probably because they're making a game every year. If you slowed that down and made one every 3 years, you could probably get a really, really great game every time you do drop.
I mean, that's why the originals were good because they were gaps in between them.
Facts.
These games have huge budgets and they have to make money, man. That's the problem. And kind of
True.
like your point about the woke stuff too. Like I think another part of that too is these big companies don't want to make a new IP. New IPs are risky, so they want to. That's why they attach to these, existing IPs. It's the only thing they can get greenlit, right? All right, you go to the executive. It's all right. There's a user base of whatever, so we think we can make X amount of money selling it to this particular user base. So it's easier to attach to those projects because those will get greenlit because yeah, it's a remake of this. We know there's built-in audience for this product.
I'm not
Hmm.
mad at their tactics. I'm not mad at their tactics at all. I completely understand that. If you want to, use an older IP so that there's a fan base for it and stuff like that and try to get some woke shit off. Okay, cool. But like I said earlier, it's the aggression. It's the way that they go about it. They usually rub people the wrong way because they'll make a move that just is like, no, why would you do that? Like, for example, to use some stuff we were talking about earlier, X-Men. X-Men in the comics, sometimes it gets pretty woke. But like the example of good and the example of bad. All right, an example of good. Mystique. Mystique has a lesbian relationship with this chick named Oracle. A lot of people that don't read the comics probably wouldn't know nothing about that because Mystique is like super sexualized, and in the movies or whatever, she's this and that or whatever. She's always trying to talk to somebody. They're like, I know in the cartoon she was flirting with Logan and stuff like that. So it's like she's kind of out there, but in the comic book she's lesbian. You know what I'm saying? And it works for her because of like the way that they explain it and stuff. Like, not to go into the whole story or whatever, but like Oracle's important to her for a lot of reasons, and blah blah blah. That's an example of good. An example of bad, they'll be like, hey man, we're finna make a new comic book with the X-Men. Like, it's gonna be, we're gonna take 6 new X-Men characters and we're gonna put them with Gambit and we're gonna say Gambit is in a gay relationship now, and now the reason he's in this relationship is because blah blah blah, and we're trying to be woke with it. But I'm just like, yo, you just gave me six brand new characters, six brand new X-Men. Why not make one of them gay? Why not make one of them fit your quota in whatever you're trying to get off on your agenda? Because everybody that really reads X-Men, everybody that really watches X-Men knows that Gambit gets down with Rogue. So it's like, why are you changing my characters? And Gambit is one of my favorite characters. So it's like, why are you forcefully changing a character like that and making him into something that you want to make him into just to get off your woke agenda when you could have done it in six other ways? You know what I'm saying? You had six other characters with a clean slate that you could have done anything with, and you were like, nah, people know who Gambit is, so let's use him. That's where I'm like, y'all be going
Oh
about it
man.
all wrong. You know what I'm saying? They be fucking up. They be like, if you really need some woke shit, let me make it, because I know the line. I know how not to cross the line when it comes to that. They be crossing the line all the damn time. But that's just me. That's my 2 cents. That's how I feel. And I'm willing to die on that hill because I don't think I said anything wrong.
Not wrong. You're not wrong. I tend to agree. I tend to agree, but I mean that's I'm just trying to explain the logic behind it, right? But yeah, making your own IP is tough. You know, it's very risky, and I think they just don't want to do it. They're afraid of you know the truth, I guess, in this case.
But it's costing them money, man. It's costing all these big franchises money. Disney has lost millions, probably billions, because of all the woke stuff they tried to get off. They tried to get off that Marvels movie. Y'all remember that? How many people seen the Marvels?
I haven't.
Oh, I seen it. I seen it. Yeah.
Okay, we got at least
It's
one.
Marvel.
All right, we got at least one. All right, y'all remember She-Hulk?
Nah, not really.
Yeah, I
At
remember. I remember
least
She-Hulk.
okay, at least one. At least one. Both of those movies bombed. Or actually, She-Hulk was a TV series. Still bombed. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
She-Hulk was TV show. Yeah. Mhm.
But like they're giving
Yeah, She-Hulk
She-Hulk
was
a
bad.
chance. They're giving She-Hulk her own TV series before we get anything about, the X-Men. I know there was some X-Men legal, but let me not do that to them. They were in a legal battle with the X-Men, so whatever. But like there's a bunch of characters that could have got some shine, could have got some limelight. You have the Young Adventures. The Young Avengers they've been trying to get off the ground for who knows how long. Instead of doing She-Hulk, focus on Young Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Instead of doing the Marvel movies, focus on that next Spider-Man movie that takes forever for us to fucking get. You know what I'm saying? Make the Venom movie that you were doing that you had to make an offside. Like the Venom movie and the Spider-Man movies are not canon to each other, which is very annoying to me because there's literally a cameo with Venom inside of a Spider-Man movie. So it's like
Spider-Man movie. I thought it was. Yeah, that would make sense, but I guess not.
it's just dumb. You know what I'm saying? So like get your Spider-Man universe together and stop giving me this bullshit that nobody cares about. But whatever, you know what I'm saying? Till then, they're just gonna keep losing money. Ubisoft, you're gonna keep losing money. Disney, you're gonna keep losing money. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're taking their existing user base for granted. They're trying to expand pool. That's how I see it, anyways.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't look. I gave my 2 cents. I gave my 2 cents. I don't know about y'all. Josh is trying not to
Mm.
say anything
See how
because there's some people watching him.
see how Frank
People watching.
Right now, all the woke
Got that
people
light on.
are like, how do you feel? What are you gonna say, Josh? What do you think about the woke coaches?
Yeah, speak on it.
He is the most silent he's
uh,
ever been. He might not even be there. Hey, look, he not on mute. I know it. He not on mute. But anyway, well, fuck it. What do y'all want to talk about? Now that I went off on that tangent, on that rant.
Pardon?
any
Guru.
topics y'all want to talk about?
Yes, sir. I mean, we've been
Shit,
talking
man.
games all the whole time. That's what I'm saying. If y'all want to talk about something else, or we could just keep it on the games.
Shit,
I
is there
just
really
What
I
else is
just
going on?
Man, there's all types of
ain't
stuff
much really
going
been
on.
going on? You know what you said.
Man, y'all look,
Well,
y'all
what's
need to
what you
tap in. Y'all need to tap in to what's going on in the world. There is so much going on in the motherfucking world right now. First of all, you still got the Diddy case going on. So there's something new
True.
there every other day. You know what I'm saying? There's new documents that came out that had Jay Z and Beyonce was mentioned in there about some dude who was he was like a snitch or something like that, and Diddy
They also
was
talking about Drewski too.
torturing him. Nah, that's the old one. That's the old one with Drewski. This is a new one where he was like torturing some dude at a
That's
party or at a
crazy.
freak off or something like that. And he had some type of sex contraption. This is all allegedly. This is all what was written in the document. So don't say come over here saying, "Oh, this is what he said." You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying this is what I saw. This is what some YouTuber was reading out. And I also want to clarify, I don't believe any of these documents. I need visual proof. I know how it is when people go to court and you could put anything on paper. You know what I'm saying? To make the other person seem
Right,
crazy
right.
or like a monster. So I believe some things were exaggerated, but I look, there's got to be a layer of truth in there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But until we get the evidence, I'm not rolling. I don't. I'm just here to throw it out there in the ether and be like, this is what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? So that we don't forget what was said.
They found a lot of baby oil, so it's somewhere got to be real.
For real, they did find that baby oil. That could be evidence. That could be proof. But yeah, you got what's going on with Diddy. You got bro, just what I seen last night. They said John Claude Van Damme or whatever. He got caught up in some sex trafficking stuff allegedly in these documents,
Whoa,
and
Wait,
I heard,
word? That's crazy.
and they said there might be children involved. So you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Crazy stuff going on. Sox Walker getting shot up, and his artist getting killed.
Who?
Sauce Walker, he's a rapper, and he
I
had an
heard about that
artist
one.
named Say So
Yeah,
Peace.
yeah, I know. I heard you say. At first, I didn't hear what you said. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there's that went down. Um, you know what? Let me talk about this because this is something a little bit more lighthearted. I mean, that's not about murder and all that stuff, but it does still touch on the realm,
It's
whatever, and it's something interesting. I'll just say that it's something interesting that's been going on for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. But y'all watch Nickelodeon, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
So Drake and Josh.
Oh,
Drake,
they might bring him back. They was talking about it, right?
I look that very well could be a possibility now. So there's the TV documentary called Quiet on Set, and it was about how there was a sexual assault or whatever that happened during the Nickelodeon time frame, and they were asking a lot of the stars, like, hey, if you knew anything about what was going on about that time. And it was a mystery about who the person was that was assaulted and like who the documentary was about. But the mystery guest was on the documentary, and it ended up being Drake Bell. So Drake ended up, talking about his story and what happened to him. But that's the
Right.
documentary. Let me bring you up to speed about 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Josh from the Drake and Josh show has his own podcast, and he had Drake come on the podcast. And it's like the first time that they were really talking to each other in like 10 years. So it's a big deal.
Damn.
When I say there's a lot of stuff that was missed in this 10 years, just to give you an example or a highlight, Josh got married and did not invite Drake to the wedding.
Damn.
That's how like distant they had grown as friends, you know what I'm saying? So now Josh has Drake on his podcast. It's a big moment, you know what I'm saying? And they talk about all types of stuff. They talk about, what happened, but they also talk about like what it was like being on set. They had chemistry and like talking about old skits and stuff like that. And they entertained the idea of working together again. They were like, in a future project, if we ever work together, this, that, and the third. Cool little interview. I encourage you guys to go watch it. Now, after that, there's another podcast from another group of Nickelodeon stars. They're from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
He's gonna say that.
They had Drake Bell on
Their shit's
their
crazy.
podcast. Yeah, crazy stuff, right? It doesn't end there, though. So that's another interview for a podcast I encourage you guys to check out because they kind of go hand in hand right together. You know what I'm saying? But because that's in my algorithm now, this third one that popped up hit me totally from left field, and it brings up a fourth one as well. So that's so Raven. That's so Raven ends up popping up on Josh's podcast. It's his very next guest. He had Drake Bell. Now on his next podcast, he has Raven. And Raven, I'm gonna be real, I didn't watch it. I maybe watched like 5 minutes about it. Raven was talking about her wife. She had her wife on the show as well. But I could just tell from 5 minutes of listening, I was like, oh, this is gonna be girl talk for real. You know what I'm saying? So I tuned out. But the reason I mentioned that is because part 4. So Raven has her own podcast. Crazy how all of them have one, but it makes sense. Raven has her own podcast, and she invited Orlando Brown to be on her
Oh
podcast.
God.
And
Damn.
I gotta go see
I want to
that.
see. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's something I want to see. So, and he responded, and what he responded with was the theme song. You know how he's like, "That's so rambling," and how he has that part where he be rapping. He responded with his whole
Yeah.
rap lyrics, word for word. So he's on board to pull up at the podcast. I don't know what day she does her pod or any of that stuff, but I know I'm gonna be watching that episode. I never even knew she had a podcast until now, but yeah, there have been people that have been talking about all types of crazy rumors and speculation between those two for years. You know what I'm saying? Secret relationship, secret baby, but like maybe possibly an abortion. I heard so much stuff about them two and even he said some things like, oh, blah blah. Me and her was dating, and she never confirmed or denied any of it. So it's like this could be a good chance to get some of those old rumors either put away in the closet and cleaned away for good, or we could get some insight on some shit that we never knew about for years. You know what I'm saying? So the tea is
Facts.
finna the tea is finna be dropped on that day for sure.
Wait, when when does that come out? You know when that come out?
I don't, but I'm gonna be keeping an eye out for it, and if it does pop up, I'll put a link
Yeah,
to
let
it.
me.
And you know what I'm saying? I'll let niggas know.
Yeah, let me know. Cause we could watch that and talk about it. Cause I know that shit's gonna be funny with Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom is crazy, yo.
Um, my phone is about to die, so I actually gotta go.
All right,
Hey,
bro.
yo, have a good night.
We probably
Well,
finna wrap up
at least,
anyway. Yeah, do your thing, bro.
All right, peace.
Deuces. Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap things up. Um, there's gonna be
wait.
there's gonna be some stuff to tap into. I'm telling y'all do some research. Do some research. There's a bunch going out in the world right now. I ain't even get into the other stuff. But next pod we probably gonna talk about the pod topics that we had. But because Homegirl didn't pull up to defend herself, I didn't want to get in on these topics since she wasn't here. So we
Right.
gonna wait. We gonna wait for her to pull up to plead her case. Till then, we was just kicking it. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead and let's do
Speaking.
our outros, and we'll just wrap it up and be like, do our thing.
All right, then. What it is, y'all? It's your boy Guru the Guy. You can find me here with the boys on Casual Crew Podcast. You know what I'm saying? Just chilling, relaxing. See me out in the street, I might slap the fuck out of you, but who knows? Sage your shit, drink your water.
Dessert. Vosto, go ahead.
Anyone else?
Oh, okay, okay. Yo, it's your boy Vasto. Just kicking it on here. Catch me on here at the next part. Catch y'all later.
Dessert. Mello, I know you normally stay on mute. I guess I'll just do yours. My name's Mellow Blurred. You can find me here on the Casual Crew podcast. You know what I'm saying? I pull up. I'm loyal, dedicated. You know what I'm saying?